Hey, there we go. It's back to live on Monday, the 8th of May. It's another The Good Parts with Chase Swift. And I'm glad you are tuning in, some of you regularly. Some of you may be catching me for the first time. This is a social media show called The Good Parts with Chase Swift. And I go through Monday through Friday, I go through just ideas or thoughts or actions that you can take that I'm sharing to kind of raise the bar and share some good things in my life. So, the title of today's episode is obviously The Good Parts, episode number 30. So, I've done this 30 days, Monday through Friday, which is cool. And specifically, the quality that removes limitations from your life. Now, I get on a conference call and it's free. I'll actually give you the website that you can visit. It's basically growrichaudios.com. We study a number of books. Primarily, one is the Think and Grow Rich study or the book by Napoleon Hill. If you go to Grow Rich, so growrichaudios.com today, you'll be able to listen to what I listen to and also be able to click on the PDF that is of the actual book, and you can read it online and get the value for yourself. So today is really, it was about faith removes limitations. Now there's some other things, so it's more than just faith, but on page 115, again, you can go to growrichaudios.com. And the last part of this chapter number 3, I believe it was, yeah, is just the story of Charles Schwab and Andrew Carnegie, men that were very wealthy at the end, but how that actually, some of the transactions, some of the things that happened, and it was really an idea, okay, plus faith conveyed into the minds of J.P. Morgan and Charles Schwab and others that allowed Charles Schwab to basically create the United States Steel Corporation. And it had a value when he thought of this and when it finally came to fruition of $600 million. So it's a fascinating read. I really encourage you to read it. It's a great story. It's true, of course. And right on page 115, this is kind of the summation of it. In bold letters, it says, "There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought." And then, so that will remove those limitations, maybe that you see in your life or that you want to remove. How do you do that? It's a combination of faith and your what you think about. So that has gotten to you where you are now. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not magical, but it does happen over time. Basically, faith is something that you exhibit over time. Now, I have personal stories where that I want to share that where this comes into play, and it relates. I could talk about online business. It definitely has come into play there, but I'm going to even go back more in time when I was 27 at the time. I was going to Brooks Institute of Photography. I had a deep desire to be a photographer. And in fact, I had been a photographer for about 5 years, trying to be a wildlife photographer and things like that. So I remember when I was in class, I decided to actually enroll into Brooks. It's a very prestigious, I consider it the best photography school in the United States, probably in the world. And I was in this class, it was the nature class. There were other classes, the basics of photography, but this was an elective class that I took and I loved it. And I can remember my professor, Ralph Clevenger, speaking. He would veer off and talk about his relationship with a stock agency. A stock agency is a company that houses photographs kind of as a library, and then clients call in and say, do you have a photo of this, or I need something like that. And so the stock agency is the intermediary between the client and the photographer. So and Ralph would talk about Westlight, this company, this stock agency, and it was a very kind of exclusive stock agency. They didn't take just anybody. And I can remember, I mean, I could close my eyes and just think, oh my goodness, this would be so awesome to actually be a photographer with Westlight. And not only did I have that thought, and I really, I mean, we think about, wouldn't it be great if, but when I really thought about it, it was like, I don't know if I fully believed it could happen, but I had the intention that I just put it out into the into the universe, basically. And that's what our thoughts are. They are actually things. They're very powerful, and they actually go into the universe. And we have infinite intelligence. You can also relate it to God. So I had this thought. I was like, I can remember. I'm like, if I could get into Westlight, it would almost be like in heaven. I would just like, it would be so great. And then that was probably in my first year, within probably my fourth or fifth class at Brooks. And I had that thought. I mean, I remember it distinctly now. And I I was very focused as a photographer. I was 27. I'd been photographing and loved it, and it was just like, now I'm at the school. It's very prestigious, and I'm learning all these great things. And it was every day was just fantastic. And it really wasn't even on wildlife nature. It was just conceptual things and the basics of photography and composition, all these great things and tools and tips and strategies, the whole deal. And I was actively engaged and learning and getting better and refining and getting better and becoming better as a photographer. Well, at about 2.5 years in, the program's 3 years, and my good friend, and he's a great professor, Ralph, again, came to me and he said, Chase, I've been speaking with Craig Arness, who's the owner, the founder of Westlight, and I've arranged for you to have kind of an interview and kind of a way to get into Westlight. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And so, but all this time, I mean, I'd been working and studying and loving photography and doing things that were not great and fun. I mean, sometimes we would photograph a sick pack of soda cans, and they, sharpness and quality and all these things. So we did really silly things, silly photos. They weren't glamorous and all, but we worked with the basics, and I knew a lot of the basics, but I did them anyways. So my point is, I worked at it. I was methodical. I keep getting better and better and better. And back in the mind I had was like, oh my gosh, if I could get into Westlight, it would just be fabulous. I mean, literally, they do all the work for you. Your images are sent out all over the world. I was just like enamored with that. And I was like, oh, that would be awesome. And so this idea with the faith is the feeling of you seeing yourself where in the position or the whatever you want in your life, and actually vividly. And I can remember the feeling of just like, oh, if that happened, I'd be ecstatic. And so I was putting feeling and emotion into that. And I was getting better, and I was doing very good work at Brooks, and I loved it. I mean, it was really what I was designed for, but I kept working at it, and I kept getting better and thinking about things and taking action, and the belief and the feelings and envisioning my future. And then Ralph comes to me and says, I've set up an appointment for you with Craig Arness. I didn't even ask for it. Ralph didn't even know my idea. He just knew that I was good enough, and he knew that I would probably excel at that. And so that was just, it was amazing because I never told anybody. I didn't tell anybody. Like, I didn't say I didn't say, hey, I wish I could be a photographer with Westlight. I didn't tell anyone. In fact, when I went to Brooks, I didn't know anybody there. I made friends there, of course, and I had good relationships there, but there was nobody that I really told that to, and it happened. So that's where this limitation of, what do you want in life? Well, you could say, you can, whatever you believe and whatever you want, whatever you put into an idea, a dream, and verbalize it, and then close your eyes and feel that and imagine it and see yourself there doing whatever you want to do or earning whatever you want. And that will happen. And by the way, study the book. One of the books is so good to study is The Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And you have free access to it, free. Just go to growrichaudios.com and you can listen to the call. You can read the book page by page, whatever you need to do. Study the book and grow in your knowledge about how this works. And take your ideas, put it to your thoughts, verbalize it, say it is helpful, and visualize what you want and see yourself there. And that is the key to removing any limitation. And so at the end of the book, at the end of this chapter, it says, both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. I will also say both, well, even being middle class or whatever you are, kind of, which is good, but wherever you are, your thoughts are the direct result, or they are the offspring of that thought. So wherever you are in life, you can change where you want to be. You can change where you're going to go by what you think and putting into action the thoughts and the feelings and the work and the focused effort. And then there are things, I mean, the story of Charles Schwab putting together U.S. Steel Corporation for $600 million back in the early 1900s is beyond amazing. It's one of the greatest feats ever. And it was all because of an idea. And he believed it, and then he worked on it. So um, I'm doing the whole book an injustice, so you need to read it, and you can just do so again by just going to growrichaudios.com. So I was on the call. It was fabulous this morning. They do a live call here. It's at 7 in the morning in Colorado, but you can listen to the call wherever you are right now. But just by going to growrichaudios.com, there's a little play button. You can listen to it. You can also get the link to the PDF. And I'm on page 115, and you can just read this last little bit it's kind of like the summation of the chapter. And it's an amazing realization that you have everything in your control when you begin thinking or wanting, believing it, talking about it, seeing it in your mind, taking action. Those things come into play. And so that is my encouragement: is you can remove the limitations in your life by thinking about what you want, acting on it, and believing it's going to happen. So hope you enjoyed that. I don't have any comments from anyone on live, which is fine. I will say, though, if you would like to get a summation of every live that I do Monday through Friday, you can go to chaseswift.com. Good. And I have a simple little newsletter filled with good information. But I also do a weekly Monday through Friday listing of all my lives. In case you miss one or want to re-listen or whatever you want, you can get on my newsletter. I'll send it out to you via email. It'll come on Friday. And that way you can get on my email list and just get these delivered to your inbox in case the algorithms of Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or whatever don't work and you're missing some of mine. You may want to get on and see them. And that way you have a link that you can check in your email. So hope you're enjoying these. Appreciate your time and watching these. Give me any comments you have and tell me what your thoughts are, how this affected your life, and maybe has it worked for you as well. So we'll see you tomorrow for sure on the next Good Parts with Chase Swift. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye for now.